Hello everybody, welcome along to another video. Mr. Johnson teaches Macbeth Act 5 Scene 1. Well done for choosing this video. It's a really crucial scene with regards to the play. It's not just because we're at the start of Act 5, the fifth and final act, but this is the scene where everything starts to unravel and the consequences of what Macbeth and Lady Macbeth particularly have done earlier in the play with the murder of the king start to really have an effect on them, and the audience can see just the consequences of those who choose to do bad things. So Macbeth is part of your English Literature GCSE, and you'll find it on paper 1, section A, and that is the first question that you will sit for your English exams. So let's move on and find a bit of summary of this scene then. So we start off with a doctor and a servant watching Lady Macbeth sleepwalking and talking. The servant, the gentlewoman she's called, has reported this to the doctor, and they're both sort of observing what goes on. The middle bullet point says she's obsessed about not being able to clean blood from her hands, and that is what's going on in this scene. That's why I've got the bloody handprint there. She can see blood on her hands which isn't there, and she keeps trying to wash them, remove the spot of blood, and she's unable to. And as the final bullet point says, she's unable to sleep and unable to rest properly because of this sort of guilty vision that she keeps having. So the key characters in this scene, you've got Lady Macbeth, you've also got the doctor and the gentlewoman, as I say, observing her. And let's have a look at this with some key bits. So Act 5 Scene 1, we're in Dunsinane, which is Macbeth's castle now, and basically the doctor and the gentlewoman are there having this conversation, talking about what's been happening with Lady Macbeth. The first arrow says, we basically have learned what's happened with Lady Macbeth because we haven't actually seen her since Act 3, which is quite a big gap in the play actually as well. So she sort of says what she's done, like she's taking paper, writing on it, folding on it, sealing it, going back to bed, whilst seeming to be fast asleep. And then the doctor on that second arrow says, he calls it a disturbance of nature, a great perturbation of nature, but a disturbance of nature, which is sort of continuing the theme that has run right through this play of what Macbeth and Lady Macbeth did by killing the king was disturb the natural order of things, which is nature. And therefore nature has been disrupted, and things like sleep, the natural sleep that they should be getting, is disrupted as well. And that's essentially what the doctor is talking about with the great perturbation of nature there. And then we have Lady Macbeth enter, excuse me, she enters, and at the very top there in pink I've highlighted some of the key quotes you absolutely want to have somewhere. Out, damn spot, out I say, she says. And then she sort of goes on into sort of various snatches of conversation, like, it is time to do it, hell is murky. And then she sort of, then the arrow I've pointed towards there, we're having like one half of a conversation, which is her half, and we don't hear the other half, so it's almost like she's living it in her head. And then she goes on to say in the middle with my second arrow there, will these hands ne'er be clean, like never be clean. It's like she's trying to wash the guilt and wash the blood off her hands, but she's unable to do it. They'll never be clean. And then the blood, as I said there in the middle arrow, acts as a symbol of her guilt, one that she's not able to remove. Once it's there, it's stuck there. The doctor tells the lady to go away because she's hearing things she shouldn't do, but the lady won't go. And then we've got Lady Macbeth at the bottom there. Here's the smell of the blood still. And another really good quote for you. All the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. Arabia being a part of the world which is well known for, among other things, its sort of beautiful scents and perfumes. So when she says all the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand, I've labelled it there. It's a direct contrast to her reaction to the blood on her hands in Act 2, Scene 2. She says a little water cleanses of this deed, whereas now it's all the perfumes of Arabia will not sweeten this little hand. So like earlier on the blood could be removed by a little thing, and now it's all of this great thing still can't remove the blood. So they're really good quotes to be able to contrast with each other to show the development of Lady Macbeth. And I've also said it mirrors Macbeth's reaction. You could pair that up with the quote he says in Act 2 Scene 2 after the murder, and he goes, all great Neptune's oceans won't wash this blood clean from my hands. So again, that is a contrast because he doesn't say that now, she is almost saying something very similar. We're near the end of this scene then. The Lady Macbeth goes off near the end, but before that in the middle there, what I point out to you is Lady Macbeth no longer talks in verse. Throughout most of this, and I am going to do a video of this elsewhere on my channel, but a lot of the characters will talk in a certain rhythm, a 10-beat rhythm, which gives their lines a very sort of clear sound. She is not, and the layout of that line actually in the middle there sort of shows that. It's sort of very disjointed and broken and just sort of flows in weird places. and it almost is reflecting how her mind is disturbed. Now, if you were to be able to fit that into an exam question and it worked for that question, you could gain some really good marks, because that's the sort of thing students rarely comment on, the form of this and how it's put down onto the page. So just a note there, she's not talking in verse, sorry, she's talking in what's called prose. And at the very bottom there, we've got to bed, there's a knocking at the gate, says Lady Macbeth. Come, 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 give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed, to bed, to bed. And that's almost like that moment immediately after the murder of Duncan, where she and her husband have to get back to bed to make it look like they've been asleep all night. So it's, again, she's almost like reliving the horrors of that night. Lady Macbeth goes off. I'll say that we never see her again on the stage. We only hear about her. And then we've got the Doctor's final bits as well, almost sort of summarising this scene when he says, "Foul whisperings are abroad." And look at the word foul. "Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural troubles." Is a really great line. So doing unnatural things, which is unnatural deeds, cause unnatural troubles to take place. Infected minds to their death pillows will charge their secrets. He goes on in the middle there. Look after her, because she needs more. More she needs than divine than the physician. Divine means like from the heavens and God, rather than a physician, which is a doctor. She needs more help than he can offer her, basically, which is a sad story. And the themes of this scene, well, quite clearly the idea of blood on hands would be a really good theme to talk about. Guilt, which comes out throughout the play, and disturbed nature, which is definitely a running theme of this play as well. How actions have the consequences, like bad consequences. So those are some key revision questions for you to have a go at. Pause this video now, write those questions down somewhere rather than just reading them and do nothing. Challenge yourself to do it, because that will make this good revision. And then if you're uncertain of any of the answers, double back, because all of them are somewhere in the video. I don't think I actually mentioned number 2, looking at it, but you will find that in the Doctor talks about and asks the gentleman what it is, where she got it from. And I think otherwise all of those are there. So let me just talk one more time then, the idea of blood on hands. It's just a really, really strong theme that runs through. And earlier on in the play, you've got Lady Macbeth, who does not seem to be disturbed by the blood on her hands after the murder of the king in Act 2, Scene 2, and Macbeth is, whereas now that blood has come to haunt her, and it's almost imprinted, you could use that word, imprinted on her mind and on her soul, and it's something that she can't get rid of, and it is this representation of guilt, because that blood is unnatural. It shouldn't be there. It should be inside somebody, not on her hands, even though it's not physically on her hands in this scene. I think that's the end of it. Yep, I'll draw the end to the little video here. Just use it as a reminder to say, don't forget to check out some of my other videos on the channel. I have gone through every single act and scene and put a video together for you. So make sure you check out those and target the ones that you particularly know you need to be have ready for the exam. And otherwise, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching this video, and goodbye.